In this short tutorial, we'll look at the structure and function of RNA. RNA is one of the nucleic acids that's integral to life, and it's related to the other nucleic acid, DNA, that we'll look at in another tutorial. So the basic structure of RNA is shown here in a diagrammatic form. So essentially it's made up of a chain of subunits called nucleotides. So nucleotide subunits. Remember, each nucleotide is made up of a phosphate group in this case a ribose sugar, which is where the name ribose nucleic acid comes from, and a nitrogen base. So RNA, of course, stands for ribonucleic acid. RNA, or ribose nucleic acid, and it's made up of a ribose sugar. So you can see in the diagram that these nucleotide subunits are linked end to end in a single stranded molecule. What that means is that nitrogen bases are not linked to another strand, so there's no connection here to another strand like in DNA. The other key difference between RNA and DNA, of course, is that in RNA the four bases are adenine, guanine, cytosine, which are the same as DNA, but instead of thymine, RNA molecules have another base called uracil. Let's have a look at this molecule in slightly more detail. So here's a chemical representation of the same molecule. Take a moment perhaps to pause the tutorial and see if you can highlight or recognize the different parts of the molecule that we've just talked about. So you should have recognized the four different bases. So these components here are the bases: uracil, adenine, cytosine and guanine. You can see then up the side of the RNA molecule you have your ribose sugars here, and each of these is joined by a phosphate group, PO4, shown here. There are three different kinds of RNA. There is messenger RNA, or just mRNA for short. There is transfer RNA, or just tRNA for short. And there is ribosomal RNA, which is a structural RNA, which is rRNA for short. So messenger and transfer RNAs are functional RNAs. They do something. And ribosomal RNA is a structural RNA. It actually makes up part of the structure of ribosomes, and that's where the name ribosome comes from the presence of ribose sugar in the RNA of its structure. So ribosomes are made up of ribosomal RNA and protein. So let's have a look at very quickly at the structure of transfer RNA. We can see here that transfer RNA has a rather unique structure. So it's still just a single strand of RNA, and if you trace it from the 5' through to the 3' end, you can see that it really is just one single strand through to the 3' end of RNA, but it has a particular shape, and it has, of course, the anticodon loop down here, which is the place on the RNA that amino acids join to. So for each kind of tRNA there'll be a particular amino acid that is specific for that anticodon, and that transfer RNA's job is to pick up an amino acid and carry it to a ribosome. Let's have a quick look at an overall ribosome and the role of the 3 different RNAs in it, particularly as related to protein synthesis. Alright, so we can see here the structure of a ribosome, and ribosomes are made up of 2 subunits, a large ribosomal subunit and a small ribosome subunit. The actual structure of the RNA molecule, as I said, is made up of rRNA, ribosomal RNA, and protein as part of the actual physical structure of the ribosome. And then the 2 other RNAs play a critical role in translation, which is the second stage of protein synthesis. So you have here your tRNA molecules, which are involved in bringing up individual amino acids to the ribosome, and then you have your messenger RNA molecule here, so this long chain of RNA which threads through the ribosome and carries the genetic information, the genetic code, to tell the ribosome in what order to put the amino acids to create a protein.